The M1 Max MacBook Pro is still one of the best MacBooks you can own. You can easily find a highly spec'd out one for the same price as the base M4, which is insane for the power and performance you can get out of it. But the question is, how does it hold up in 2025? What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Rio here, and today we're going to talk about the 14-inch M1 Max MacBook Pro. I've been using this laptop for nearly 3 years now. I bought it back in June of 2022. But I bought it secondhand off eBay. I got it for a great discount, and it also included the Apple Care. So yes, this thing still has Apple Care and it's still going strong. I use this MacBook for everything: video editing, photo editing, graphic design, labbing, content consumption, and so much more. It's literally my workhorse, and it has not broke a sweat in 3 years. This comes to say you don't need the latest and greatest from Apple to get what you need done. As someone who makes content or even doing high intensive work, so let's go ahead and do a deep dive of why the M1 Max is still worth it in 2025. So the spec that I got from my MacBook Pro is, of course, the M1 Max, but I got it with a 10-core CPU, 32-core GPU, 64 gigs of RAM, and 2 terabytes of storage. And yes, at the time, this was an expensive machine, but you can easily find this same exact spec right now for under $2,000. Now, I know $2,000 is still a lot for a laptop, but hear me out. That's literally more than 50% off from what it originally was. And compared to the M4s today, you're not getting that spec at that price at all. So this MacBook is equipped with 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports, HDMI slot, and also an SD card slot. It also has a headphone jack. I don't really know like the crazy specs of that, but I heard it's pretty good. So when this laptop first launched, we were all excited about the return of the ports, and we actually still are. But when we all found out about the HDMI port, we were completely disappointed. So the HDMI port it has right now is HDMI 2.0. And at the time, HDMI 2.1 was definitely out. So I don't know why Apple didn't go ahead and just put it in the MacBook, but of course, Apple, they want you to go ahead and upgrade to the new device. So unfortunately, we couldn't do 4K at 120 Hertz with a monitor from the HDMI port, but I guess that's why we have Thunderbolt ports, which are great, by the way. If you don't know, Thunderbolt 4 supports 40 gigabits per second, but you need to have compatible devices, compatible cables, just to be able to take advantage of those speeds, which unfortunately I do not have, but I have seen it in action and it does not disappoint at all. The design of the MacBook has held up great over the years. It looks very much new. I still have like a goat sticker impression on the MacBook. You can see it, when it's very bright, in the sun or in the light. But other than that, it still looks damn near brand new. So let's talk about what I use this MacBook for. So the main thing I use this MacBook for is for photo and video editing. That's literally the main reason why I bought this thing. So it does not skip a beat when you're editing a 4K video with multiple streams, timelines, music, transitions, overlays, and etc. Now, I know my videos aren't too really intensive, and I really don't push the limits like some professional creators, but for a simple user like me, just being able to like scrub the timeline and it doesn't lag and it doesn't skip a beat is already impressive enough for me. I'm just glad I don't have to make any proxies. I can just go straight from the SD card straight to the computer and then go straight into editing. So the photo editing is actually the main thing I've been using this thing for the past 3 years. Because at the time, I was mainly a photographer. I wasn't really doing videos. I wasn't really doing YouTube videos like that either. So again, no hiccups with the photo editing at all. I use Lightroom and Lightroom Classic to edit my photos. I will say, I do remember Lightroom Classic crashing a couple of times, but I don't know if that was because my library was getting kind of full or if, there were too many photos in a certain collection. Honestly, that really shouldn't matter. It hasn't crashed in a while, so I'm thinking it was probably like, a software, bug thing going on with the application. So once I did the software update on the Lightroom Classic, it worked just fine, and it has been smooth since. I don't use Photoshop like that at all. I know I'm a photographer, I probably should be using Photoshop. I use it sometimes, but when I do, I have no problems with it at all. I'm definitely gonna try to take advantage of the generative AI features within Photoshop. So I'm sure the M1 Max is gonna handle that just fine. So outside of photo and video editing, I have used the M1 Max MacBook Pro for other things. I used to be a college student, so I've done some work on here. I use virtual machines for me to do labs in Windows or in Linux, because if you did not know, I do work in the tech field. I am a network engineer or network administrator, aspiring to be a network engineer. So I have to do a lot of complex labs and designs, but I am limited on what I can do on this MacBook. One of the main gripes I have about this MacBook is that I cannot do nested virtualization. And the thing about nested virtualization is you're basically trying to run, not basically, you are trying to run a virtual machine inside a virtual machine. I heard you can do it on the new M4s, and I've been doing some research on it. So I haven't heard anything finalized about it, so I'm not really too sure about it. But hopefully this can be fixed in the future with the ARM chip, because I really want just an all-in-one device where I can do my labbing, not trying to have to build like a secondary server and I have to remote in just to do labs. So applications like GNS3, CML, and other network virtualization applications I cannot run natively on this MacBook. Unless, like I said, I have like a dedicated server, you know, in person or like in the cloud or something like that. And all that costs money that I do not have because I spend it on the MacBook. I've also used the MacBook as my streaming hub, and it handled that better than I expected. Because when you think of streaming, you think of like custom built PCs with these colorful RGBs and spec'd out crazy setups and stuff like that. But no, just this one MacBook Thunderbolt 3 dock. Just plug up my Xbox to it, plug up my Elgato into the MacBook or to the Thunderbolt dock, and it handled it like a champ. So it had no lag, no buffering, no anything. It was a smooth stream and I enjoyed it. But as far as productivity work goes, like with word processing, emails, web browsing, no problem in that area at all. I can easily open dozens of Google Chrome tabs and it does not flinch. So I highly recommend getting a higher RAM upgrade because I do got 64 gigs of RAM in mine. So whenever you're buying a MacBook, please get the higher RAM upgrade. 64 is probably overkill, so I would probably recommend 32 for most people. So yeah, more RAM comes in handy. I rarely heard the fans come on at all while using this MacBook. I felt the MacBook get hot a couple of times, but that's only when I'm doing extremely extensive work, like editing 4K or, you know, streaming on my Xbox. But yeah, other than that, it doesn't get hot like that, and the fans are extremely quiet. Okay, so let's talk about the worst thing about this MacBook, which is definitely the battery life. The battery life is not that good at all. After watching a lot of reviews, I knew exactly what I was getting into with the size of the actual laptop and the size of the battery, but I did not know it was going to be like this because I was honestly expecting better battery performance, at least from the M1 Max. I know the M1 Pro is it kills it with the battery. Like, it actually has decent battery with the M1 Pro, but the M1 Max, it's terrible. Let me not say terrible. It could be better. For simple things like web browsing, content consumption, productivity work, I can probably squeeze like 8 to 10 hours out of this thing, which is not bad. But with my normal M1, like the base M1, I was probably charging that thing once a week, twice a week, and it was not dying like that at all. It would literally last me forever. So with the high intensive stuff, you can see the battery drop on this thing, which is disappointing. But like I said, I had to remember the size of the MacBook. I have a 14-inch, so the battery is not gonna be that big. I'm assuming with the 16-inch, it has better battery life. I haven't tested it with the 16-inch. People say it has better battery life with the 16-inch. So I also bought this MacBook secondhand, and when I received it, it had 95% battery capacity, but now it's at like 84% battery capacity. And it's been stuck there for probably like a year and a half. And I feel like Apple is cheating me for some reason for just keeping it there because they're trying to hold me out from the free battery replacement. Because with your Apple Care, you get a free battery replacement if it goes under 80%. And it has been stuck at 84 for the past year and a half. And I just know for a fact, like, it has something to do with Apple software. I just know. But I feel like once I get the battery replaced, it's probably gonna be great at the battery life again. I heard even at 100% it wasn't even all that, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be better than what I have now. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and schedule an Apple appointment and yeah, just have them test my MacBook and go ahead and replace the battery. But I'm not paying for anything, so they're gonna have to do something on their end. So macOS is macOS. It's a great operating system, and not too many drastic changes are being made with the operating system every year. That being said, I believe the M1 Max is probably gonna get a lot of the feature updates. So no need to panic about your MacBook not receiving updates. It definitely will. The only reason I can see the M1 Max MacBook not receiving future updates is if Apple says no themselves. And we all know how Apple is when it comes to things like that. They just love forcing us to upgrade. And I love buying their products, so I guess I'm the real dummy here. But yeah, this thing can run Apple Intelligence without any problems. So I fully expected to have at least 3 years of updates in it, at least. It will probably have more, but I'm just going off of what Apple has done in the past. And I remember one year, the iPhone 4, great example, great phone. Next year, iPhone 4S drops, Siri, but hey, that's just Apple. So I don't see the M1 Max slowing down anytime soon. I've seen MacBooks with Intel processors that have gone nearly a decade without any problems. So honestly, I expect this MacBook to do damn near double that. Probably not, but with this performance, it should. A lot of applications are optimized for the M1 now, except for the applications I use as a network engineer, unfortunately. But nonetheless, everything else still works. If an application is not compatible yet in 2025, then that means the company hates the consumer. So is this MacBook worth buying in 2025? I 100% believe it's worth buying in 2025. I mean, if you're a creator, student, or even professional on a budget, then I say go for it. It's not worth paying double the price for damn near the same performance. Now, if you have to have the latest and greatest in Apple Silicon performance, Wi-Fi 6E, a better FaceTime camera, or just even better battery life, then this MacBook is probably not for you, and I understand why, especially with the battery life. I mean, I also love having the latest tech. iPhone 16 Pro Max, Apple Watch Ultra 2, iPad Pro, M4. The only thing it's not upgraded is my M1 Max MacBook Pro, and it's great. But I love buying new tech, and I'm a YouTuber, and it's kind of my job to review the latest tech. But the M1 Max MacBook Pro is not the only MacBook that you can buy secondhand. You can save money with the M2 or even the M3. You can get a MacBook Air and save money. You do not have to get an M1 Max MacBook Pro. I'm only talking about it because it's what I experienced and it's what I've been using so far for the past 3 years. So please do your own research first on like what applications you need and like what are your use cases before you go out and spend money on a MacBook Pro. So for under $2,000, I still believe the M1 Max MacBook Pro is still a powerhouse and worth every penny. But if you want something that will hold you up even more long term, I get it. Go out and get you the M4. But if you want to save money, man, go ahead and get you the M1 Max, M2 Max, or even the M3 Max, because you do not have to go out and buy the latest and greatest. So are you still using the M1 Max MacBook Pro, or are you planning on upgrading soon? Leave a comment down below and let me know. Also drop a like for me too, and also hit the notification bell so you can receive updates on all my videos whenever I drop them. It's your boy Rio here. I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.